Hey Dabbers, and welcome back to another Dab 2000 video. And today, I will be ranking all 11 Fast and the Furious movies. Now, I know some people left this franchise because of how insane F9 was when cars went to space and everything. But personally, I enjoyed this franchise. I watched them back to back to back, and it was a fun time. Sure, the action's ridiculous and everything, but I thought these films were just a blast to watch, and I was laughing how insane it was and how cool the action sequence is, and I just like this franchise a lot. Now, Junior's with me.
I haven't seen them, so I'm not really gonna be.
He's only seen one of these movies.
And
I think it was the first one he watched.
And it was strange. I'm prepared for the new movie tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, me and Junior are gonna watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse tonight, and
Friday. It's Friday. I don't know if it'll be posted today.
Yeah, I don't know when this Fast and the Furious ranking will be posted, but you will see eventually, or have already seen, a short and a community post of my review
is whack.
of my review of Across the Spider-Verse. You will never know Junior's because he doesn't like to do this.
I'm gonna predict.
Maybe I'll do.
It's a 9 out of 10.
Rank. Tell me if I should rank all the Spider-Man movies again with this new one, or should I wait for something else?
I haven't even seen the movie yet, so I'm gonna predict it's gonna be like an 8 out of 10 for me.
8 out of 10.
Maybe like a 10 out of 10. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Without further ado, let's just get diving in to this ranking. Coming in at number 11 is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Now, this is by far my least favorite Fast and the Furious movie for obvious reasons. Number one, it doesn't even star any of the main characters. Brian, Dom, Letty, it doesn't have any of them. It has Dom at the end as like a credit, not even a credit scene, just like a surprise cameo at the end of it. But it doesn't even star any of the main characters, and you're just kind of off with this kid that I don't know his main name, but you just follow him, and he's in Tokyo, and I just didn't feel like the villain was that compelling. I didn't really like the main character, and I just thought this was just a pretty bland, alright, not even that good of a Fast and Furious movie. Alright, number 10 is Too Fast, Too Furious, the second movie in this franchise, and to be honest, I thought like the first half of it was good. You introduced to the Brian's friend, which is really funny in the later films. He's funny in this one. It's just so surprising how he becomes like a full-blown, like, strong man in this movie, and then in the later ones, he's kind of like, he can't even take on a dude, and he's just funny. I think that's a weird character arc to take this guy, but he's really fun in this movie. The main character in this one is Brian. Dom isn't even in this movie, so it's just focused on Brian. And I got kind of bored towards the end of it. I didn't really enjoy the end of it. And this one, the little insane stuff start kicking in when they drive a boat. Drive a car onto a boat. And I don't know, I just didn't really care for the new characters except Brian's friend. I think he's hilarious, and I'm glad they brought him back in future Fast and the Furious movies. But all in all, just a bland Fast and the Furious movie, and it wasn't really that enjoyable to me. Alright, coming in at number 9, I have F9, The Fast Saga. Now, this is where it got insane. This was like the final one I had to watch before Fast X, which I have already seen, or else why would I be making this ranking? But I don't know. This was one of my least favorite of the newer films because I've started to like 4 through 8. Like, that chunk of Fast and the Furious movies was, like, really good, and I was just like, this is insane. This one dropped down for me because there's some crazy, insane stuff in this movie. Like, they put cars in space. They have, like, a wire that attaches to Dom's car, and they do, like, a Tarzan swing all the way across the mountain. I mean, this movie is insane, And I don't know. I don't really like John Cena in this movie. I like him in Fast X more. This movie's kind of just mean, brooding, and is out to get Dom because he kind of killed his dad, but his dad told him to. So all in all, it's just kind of a weird movie, and I don't really enjoy. Like I just thought it was just kind of weird they did some of this insane stuff in this movie. All right, at number 8, I have Fast and Furious. This is the 4th one, and you know, this one, at the time, I actually really liked this movie when I watched it. I only watched these movies like a couple weeks ago, and I kind of forget what happened in this movie. I know, like, Letty dies, and the cave part where they're driving in caves. That's really all I remember, and the cool kill when Brian holds onto the bad guy's leg, and then Dom drives his car into him. But that's all I remember. I don't really remember that much of this film. So it's kind of a forgettable movie because you don't really know what the plot is as much. You just remember these insane stuff that happened in the movie. I think it's just kind of a weird plot. And it's about, like, Dom getting revenge for Letty. So, I don't know. I just didn't really like this. This movie's fine and all. I think, like, after F9, I kind of enjoy these movies a lot more. It's just this one's okay. I like it. Alright, coming in at number 7 is Fate of the Furious, the eighth one in this franchise. And this is the one where Dom turns evil and turns on the family because Cypher has a kid. Like, not, she doesn't have a kid, but she has Dom's kid. So, that's why he turns on the family. And I thought this one was pretty enjoyable. Sure, some people think this is another insane one because there's a submarine on ice and they blow it up and then Dom somehow survives with a car shield. But
what the heck?
Junior has no idea. I've said cars in space and everything.
Sounds like a weird movies.
They are, but I enjoy them. So this one is just when Dom turns evil, and that's what you really remember about this film. I loved all the action sequences. I like how the family had to team up together to defeat Dom. And I also like to see Shaw in the airplane with the baby. I thought that was, like, hilarious. I love that scene. But all in all, it's a good film. It's just not one of my favorites out of these. It's pretty good to see Dom evil. That's probably what lost me a little, is how evil he got with the family. So, that kind of lost me a little. But all in all, this is still a pretty good Fast and the Furious movie. Alright, coming in at number 6 is Fast and the Furious, the number 1 movie that started this whole franchise. It is really weird how this one starts with, like, racing, and it's all about the cars and racing, and then the future ones is about, like, spies and cars in space and all that. It's a weird franchise that started with racing and went insane. But honestly, I do like this movie. At first, when I first watched it, I was like, I don't really like this movie. Junior still hates this movie.
Yes, sir.
So, I've grown to appreciate it now during watching all these films, because I've seen the first Fast and Furious movie like a year ago, and I was like, wow, I don't remember a single thing that happened in this movie. So, I rewatched all of them. Not all of I rewatched the first one, and then all the other ones were new watches for me. And I started to appreciate this movie because it's the foundation. You get introduced to the family, Brian as a cop, and all this that eventually leads to a lot of other stuff. But it's an enjoyable, fun first movie. Alright, coming in, we're in the top 5. And number 5 is Fast and the Furious 6. Now, this is probably know which one this is. Now, I actually enjoyed this movie. I think, like, 5, 6, and 7 were pretty good movies. And I really like this one because the family has to come back together to stop Shaw. Shaw. And I think this was awesome. With the plane sequence at the end of it where they're just literally beating each other up and using cars to hold down the plane and stuff. And I just thought this movie is awesome. This is the one that Letty, it reveals to be alive, and she forgets everything, so it adds a twist to this movie. And yeah, all in all, this was a pretty good movie. Alright, coming in at number 4 is Hobbs and Shaw, the spin-off of the franchise. And I really enjoyed this one, because you don't need to focus on the cars, because this isn't about the family. This isn't about racing, and you're lucky to only get one racing scene in any of these movies anymore. This movie doesn't have races, because it's not about dominance racing. It's about Hobbs, which is a cop and stuff, and then you have Shaw, which is a villain and stuff. And their banter between each other is just hilarious. I love to see them both on screen together fighting with each other. It's just hilarious. And then there's also this villain that's like a robot, and it's like just really fun. It's just a very good action movie that they needed in this franchise. So I really enjoyed this film, and I want to see Ryan Reynolds back in another one of these films, because he was just hilarious in this film. Alright, at number 3, I have Furious 7, the last one with Paul Walker in it, and I thought this movie was really good. The big standout of this movie is definitely when they drive the car through 3 buildings. I was just like, what in the world is going on? It was just awesome. And then they ended Brian's character very well, that he doesn't have to come on missions anymore. He can stay with his family, and he's still alive in this universe. They just found a really clever way to end off Brian's character, because sadly the actor did die during mid-production in this film. So I thought they handled that part very well. Alright, at number 2, I have Fast X. Now, this might be pretty high for some people, but honestly, I watched this film like a couple weeks ago. Like, I think it was 2 days after it came out in theaters, and I just love this film. I thought it was amazing. Like, not amazing, but I thought it was really good. The main standout here is the villain of Dominic. I think that's his name. And played by Jason Momoa, and I think he's just an amazing villain, by far the best villain in this franchise, because he's so likable, but he does some insane stuff. He is like the Joker in this universe, because he's just, some of the stuff he does, I was not expecting at all, and it just took like a dark turn with him having like funny lines and stuff. I was like, whoa, he actually did that. So I just really like this film, and I didn't think it was that big of a problem splitting the team up in different places. I actually liked that part of it, because you're like, oh, what's going to happen to these characters all the way over here? And I was like, it was awesome. This is part 1 of a 3-part finale, so it does end with a massive cliffhanger, but I love the cliffhanger. I was like, what? That's how it ends? And I was like, that was just insane and stuff. And some of the twists in that movie was awesome. If you want me to get like more spoiler heavy about this movie, check out my community post, because I go deep in depth of how I really thought about this movie. But coming in at number 1, I have Fast 5. By far the best one, because this is when they started to introduce the spy and the action stuff, which I thought was really cool. The big standout is when they have cars driving with a safe at the back of it. It's just, it ties directly into Fast X, which just came out, and it's just, this movie was awesome. It shows how they combine together the team in this movie. So you get all these random characters like Hans, Brian's friend, and everyone together, and you get this team, and you have to do this heist for a safe. So I just thought this movie was awesome, and I really did enjoy this movie, so that's why I come in at number 1. What did you guys think of my Fast and the Furious ranking? Down below in the comment section. I will check you guys on another Dab 2000 video and another ranking video. Goodbye, Dabbers.